So we got our girl Legally Hype in here for Believe the Hype. And, everything is crazy this past week. You're going to set the record straight for everything that's going on and help us out a little bit, help us understand the things that are going down. So let's first talk about what's going on between Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears, because this is a whole messy situation here.
Okay, so boom. So Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears, they are being accused of molestation. And they are being sued for IIED, which is intentional infliction of emotional distress, which basically mean
Hmm.
like you did something to me or caused me some kind of harm that emotionally I just can't get over it. I got anxiety, I can't live my life, this, that, and the third. So the accusers are basically saying that they were a part of some video skit, right? I seen one skit. Apparently, there's another one out. But in
Right.
this skit, there's this little boy. He was allegedly 7 years old at the time, and they're basically saying like Tiffany and Aries groomed them, right, when they were minors, and that there was no parent or no guardian present when these videos were going down. There's two accusers. One, their brother and sister. It sounds like, and all this stuff happened back in like 2014. So it sounds like they had tried to go to the police in Las Vegas around 2020. And the Las Vegas police was like, we're not really going to deal with that right now. Like, that's not important. You might have to take that to Los Angeles.
Hmm.
So they recently filed suit in Los Angeles. And they like, we want our money because we can't move on with our lives. Like the little boy is a legend. Now they're Jane Doe and John Doe now because they were minors at the time that the incident happened. But
Okay.
they're basically saying like we can't live our life. The girl is saying I've never dated before because of how this affected me. I can't
Wow.
trust anybody. Right. The little boy, he has anxiety. Well, he's grown now, but he has anxiety. They're saying he does stuff like put band-aids over cameras and stuff like that because he just has so much anxiety and he's
Yeah,
just
but
so
he
messed
can't really
up.
be that grown. He should be like 17 by now, right? Because you said this happened.
2014. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
that okay. Well, he close. He can grown enough. Well, so the former little girl, the
Yeah.
Jane Doe is grown. She 22. So
Okay.
then the young boy, the John Doe, he not grown yet, but he older.
Okay. So I'm confused though. Is this a civil case or is this a criminal case? Because I did see reports that the mother was basically saying she wanted them arrested.
Okay, so boom. Right now it's just civil. It's in civil court. But they wrote a letter to George Gascon, who is the district attorney here in Los Angeles. And they were like, you need to put them in jail. Like, we have the evidence of what they did. You can't deny this evidence, right? And we think they should be in jail for it. And we have not heard about any charges being pressed against either of them yet.
Okay, so Tiffany Haddish, she gave a little bit of a statement, but some people thought it wasn't good enough. Aries Spears is talking, saying that it's a money grab, that they are trying to. I mean, if you're gonna shake somebody down for money, why the hell would it be Aries Spears? But you know, is Tiffany Haddish speaking out for herself? Can that like really like hurt her in any way? Because wouldn't that like her claiming her innocence, wouldn't that kind of help?
Okay, so boom. So it depends, right? So on the one hand, the statement that I saw from Tiffany, she was just like, I wish I never participated in this video, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that she's saying that she participated in what she's being accused of, right?
Hmm.
So just because you see her in a video does not mean she was grooming people, right? Grooming children does not mean she molested anybody. So you want to be, that's why a lot of people don't speak out prior to a trial or when
Right.
there's a pending case, because the things that you say can be used against you, right? And they
Right.
will use this as evidence, like, oh, she admitted to it. But you have to be mindful. So on the one hand, like, it doesn't really matter. She just said, you know what, I'm sorry that it turned out like this. On the other hand, they can't flip it and be like, okay, well, she admitted that she was a part of this situation, so that should
Because
work in
she's
our
saying
favor.
sorry, right?
Right,
And she said,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So it can get flipped either way, right? But it just depends. I don't know how much money Aries Spears got, but he clearly got more money than the victims do.
That's
So,
true. That's
you
true.
know.
Did you see that the mother allegedly was at Tiffany Haddish birthday party last year? So would that affect the case in any way?
Okay, so boom, it may or it may not, right? On the one hand, it starts to look like, okay, so why are you guys coming, for this all these years later? Allegedly, the mother and Tiffany Haddish, they had some sort of friendship, right?
Mhm.
going on in the past, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, if there's no statute of limitations on when you decide to, or if you haven't, like if the statute of limitations has not passed on that particular situation, then you can file your case whenever you want to. So,
Right. Okay. So now let's talk about what's going on in Mississippi. Now we've seen something similar to this happen, or is it something similar to what happened in Flint, Michigan? Because we know that for quite some time they haven't had proper water or water. Their water system was down for quite some time. Now, what exactly is going on in Mississippi, and will the water, or is the water already restored?
okay, so boom. So in Mississippi, basically their water tanks are jacked up. So apparently this has been an infrastructure issue for quite some time. It's been
Hmm.
going on for nearly 30 years, if not longer. And it's just an issue that's been getting passed on, passed on, and passed on. Now you see, right, the weather is changing, whether you believe in climate change or not. The weather is
Mhm.
changing, right? It's either getting hotter or getting more wet in these different
Right.
areas. And so what happened in Jackson, Mississippi is that they had a flood, and that flood wiped their system out there, right? That they used to pump their water to get clean water. And so the residents for the past month and some change have been having to boil their water that comes out of their faucets in their
That's
systems.
crazy.
They haven't had clean water to flush their toilets, right? They are driving in long lines just for one case of water to try to brush their teeth and cook and clean their hands or whatever the case may be. So they are going through it. And the issue is like, y'all need to fix this system, but this is a long-standing issue. So currently, their leadership, their governor is saying like, oh, you know, you still got to boil the water, but you can still drink it. It's okay. But the residents is like, no, like if you see this
No,
water, it's dirty, it's coming
trying to
out
kill
black.
us.
It's
Right.
it's crazy. So currently they still are in a crisis. It sounds like it's getting better. Like maybe they
Okay.
have a minor fix right now, but the larger scale issue is like we need to fix our systems because it's going to continue to happen.
So when things like this happens, right, in the area that's affected, what happens to those people? Like, do they get any kind of compensation? Do Are they able to sue? Like, what process can they do?
Okay, so boom, good luck trying to sue the government. Good
Right.
in Jackson, Mississippi, right? So,
Right.
some of the issue, right, is you have this Republican state, you got a red state, right,
Mhm.
and in this area you have blue leadership, right? So you have more liberal leadership, and so there's a clash there where they're
Mhm.
not communicating properly, they're not on the
Right.
same page on how to resolve the issue, and so it's almost like the residents they are just getting at the bad end of a conflict that don't need to be a conflict right now, right?
Mhm.
Um, can they sue? There may be an issue there, right? Like, but it just depends because when you're a government official, you're protected by certain things so that it's
Right.
harder for people to sue you, right? So the governor could just say, I was doing my job. This was an issue before I even came here, right? Or before I came into leadership here. So how are you going to blame me because it's not working out for you now? It just
Mhm.
depends on what the issue is with that. If a lawyer can find the issue, but they just suffer right now, right? So you hope that other organizations, right, will give money to the city. You
Right.
hope that people will donate water and money and funds to help you out, right? They looking at
Mhm.
Big Daddy Biden, like, okay, what you gonna do? I've heard that like Big Daddy Biden has offered money and the governor rejected it. Now I don't know how accurate that is because I haven't looked into it, but
Right.
that's something that's being said across the internet right now is like we had the option, but our governor didn't want to use it because it came from Big Daddy Biden. So it's just unfortunate when you have this kind of petty drama in government and in your leadership, but the residents are suffering right now.
And it's
Anything, sorry, go ahead, girl.
No, no, I was gonna say it was crazy to me that I did see that the governor actually voted against the infrastructure plan that Joe Biden put out there, and maybe that's why he rejected the money, but then he turned around and had a tank for him and his family, of water in front of his home. So, should they knock that tank out the
If
should
it was
should
me,
they
I
get
would
rid of
be
that
pulling
tank?
up every morning. I would pull up every morning with my buckets, get in my
Same,
water, and go back to
same.
my house. And we're gonna call
It
it a day. This is community
Hello?
water. This
That's
is
crazy.
this is community water, right? So I mean,
Right.
all jokes aside, it's really messed up because you think there's children, right? You have elderly, you have people who are disabled, right? Who cannot fend for themselves, who can't carry buckets of water, right?
Right.
And need water for certain resources. You think we got COVID, right? Monkeypox, whatever else, dragon pox, everything going on right now. You know
Dragon
what I
pop.
mean? Like, and you can't even wash your hands properly or drink water, which is essential to your body, like to everyday
Right.
life. So
Right.
people are dramatically affected. But when you think about like the Republican thought is like what we spending money on and how much is government getting involved in helping people out, right? Because they
Mhm.
Republicans, they about their money. Okay, they
Yeah.
about money and business, and they like, is this good business and is this gonna make me some money? 9 times out of 10, right? So if they don't see the value in the infrastructure plan, or if it was something in there they was like, this don't really help us, of course they voted against it. But now we're
Yeah.
seeing the consequences of you have a whole city that's struggling to wash their dishes, and that's not fair.
And let's be clear, Jackson, Mississippi is like 80% Black. And it's no coincidence that this continuously happens in predominantly Black neighborhoods because Flint is also a predominantly Black neighborhood. So,
Exactly.
why is this not happening in Hollywood? Why is this not happening in Beverly Hills? Why is this not happening in the predominantly white areas?
Because then people gonna go to their city council meeting and cut up. And
Yeah,
they gonna let you know, I pay my taxes and I want this taken care of this way. And if you don't get it taken care of this way, you won't be sitting in that seat next election. I promise you
right,
that. We'll find somebody else to put in that space. So this is why it's important. It's inconvenient, right, to pull up to your city council meeting after you didn't work 14 hours that day at Burger King, but you're gonna have to at this point, right? Because those people need to see your face and they need to know that your issues are relevant and they need to
right.
handle them in a way that is convenient and beneficial to the community that they serve. And if you don't pull up, they don't know you, they don't mark you present. Okay, so you got to pull up and you got to say what you need to say and you need to advocate for yourself. And again, it's very inconvenient, but that's how it works. Them people in
Yeah,
Beverly Hills, they gonna pull up, they gonna write a letter, send a letter,
yeah.
they gonna have their lawyers calling people, you know what I mean? Because they got it and they can do it, but we can do it too, right? In our neighborhoods, we
Yes, we
just gotta
can.
find a way to make a way to get it done.
Well, legally hype, that sounds like you're trying to tell the people that they need to get out there and vote. Make sure that they right, vote, vote, vote. And they, like I said, they're already making things difficult for us. We can't
Yes.
drink water. They don't want us to vote, be clear, because we know that the things that they're putting into place now is to suppress our vote. So
Right.
make sure we got to do what we got to do, whether it's stand, like you said, online for 14 hours or go from work to those meetings or whatever we need to do. We need to get out there and make sure we get it done so our
Mhm.
people are not suffering like this.
Definitely. And this is why things like gerrymandering is an issue, right? Because you get people in leadership who don't care about the people that they are governing, right? But they're able to get away with it because they didn't change the district lines. This is why they try to suppress the vote so that we don't come out and vote for people who are going to be sensitive to the issues that we have in our communities. So for everybody who's like, my one vote don't matter, it mattered today. So go ahead and make sure you are registered to vote. And when it's time to vote, put your vote in. Like, don't let people just run your life for you and you just going day by day in the passenger seat of your life with some people who don't know how to drive.
We are the morning hustle.